I'm gonna answer a few questions, and anytime, just so that you know, anytime you have any questions, feel free to drop those. You can, I usually receive DMs and I always check them, and I know sometimes they're repetitive. However, please keep in mind that we have new wig wearers to our community every single day, every single week. So since we have a couple of you on now, welcome to René Paris. I am Daniella, and today we're going to be talking about how to bring your style back to life. After a weekend of a lot of being outside, a lot of whipping in the wind, my updo looks a little, let me dim this a little bit. My updo looks a little rough, if you will. So I'm going to kind of walk you through. Let me show you how I usually, this is my updo. I wear several different colors. I know you know that. However, after a weekend like this, long weekend, they get a little frizzy, a little, you know, unkept looking, and I just want to, kind of work through that and re-glam a little bit. So if you'd like, you can go grab a wide tooth comb. I'm going to just use a wide tooth comb. If you have just a spray bottle, just water. And then if you have the ROP Revive, I would grab that. Give you a few minutes to kind of grab those while I answer a few questions. Whoops. This is Revive. I don't think you can see it. It's REVIVE Liquid Enhancement. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my questions really quickly so we have plenty of time to kind of work through this style. First question was, why would you even flip your wig? Good question, because I don't think I answered that. However, we were doing a really big show in Long Beach, and we always preview like the limited edition colors, and it also happened to me this weekend. So we're at a location and you really do want to take your whole suitcase of wigs, but sometimes because of room, you know, in the wherever the group is traveling, or if we're just making a short trip like this weekend, we just happened to decide on the spare of the moment, literally, that we were going to take a little road trip. We didn't have time to go all the way back to our hometown and then go the other direction back, so I only had 3 wigs, which is a shocker for me because we travel with suitcases of wigs. I had this one, which is the other updo. This is Cali. And then I had my Ivana, which I'll answer the other questions to. This is on my personal Instagram at Texas Wig Fairy. So the reason I flipped this the original time was because I love it in its original look, the way it was designed. However, we were getting dressed and I thought, I don't have more than 1 wig, which is not like me. Started getting a little bit nervous, and my mom taught me way back like 20 years ago how to flip it. So when I say flip it, I am literally taking this wig, and I did this on Instagram, so you can go back a week and see how we flipped it. But for respect in answering the question, I'm literally taking it and flipping it from the bottom and flipping it, and it looks wonderful. Not all styles are made to flip. If you go back and view the live, some of them didn't look good, some look okay. This Ivana happened to look really cool with the outfit that I was wearing and the glasses that I was going to wear that day. So no, they are not designed to do that. This is just a fun trick that I did on YouTube 2 years ago. Again, my mom taught me to do this years ago and I loved it. And then years back, they used to create styles that were designed, they were called reversibles. So I just flip them, and I've got an extra wig, if you will, wherever I'm at. So please go back if you want to view that, the full live on Gram, if you'll just go back and view that, please. And I think it's also on our YouTube channel. And then while I'm there, make sure that you follow us so that you know when we're going to do something. Spare the moment. If we ever go live, you'll be aware of that. Okay, second question. Okay, why do you not? So I always have my hair in an updo like this, and people want to know why I don't choose to wear human hair. And does René Paris offer human hair? Yes, they do. So first of all, let me answer the first question. The reason I do not wear human hair is because we travel on a team. We travel year-round, and we're in different climates. Sometimes it's rainy, sometimes it's humid. There's snow. There's all kinds of different weather patterns, if you will. And we want our hair to always look glamorous, bulletproof, if you will. With synthetic, it always looks really, really nice. I mean, you don't have to worry about rain. You don't have to worry about any of the elements because rain's just going to beat off. And I haven't had the opportunity to do anything live like that. I will try to the next time we have rain to kind of just show you that it kind of just beads off. I'm usually wearing this, so you're not really going to see the full effect, if you will. If I was wearing something curly and it was raining, then you would see how the curl pattern doesn't compromise anything in the style, the wig, the fiber, nothing. So it's just beautiful looking all the time. That's why I personally choose to wear synthetic, because I really don't want to be messing with it if it softens. Human hair is beautiful. It's beautiful if that's what you're more comfortable with. And I just wanted to show you on René Paris how you just go to reneparis.com. Up here, right here, there's a little, you can hit a little search, and I just put in human hair, and if you'll scroll, it's going to show you all the different styles that are available in human hair, and the line, so that you know what the line is called. It's called fair fashion. So yes, they are available. They are gorgeous. And if you'll go back to Abby's YouTube, Abby is my social sister. She has tutorials on the human hair and how she feels about human hair and how she styles them and the different looks. So she has tutorials available. So make sure you go back to view Abby, please, because she does a wonderful job, and so does Alexander, showcasing our human hair pieces. So I just want to make sure that you do know that we do carry human hair as well, and they are beautiful, beautiful crowns, if you will. Okay, next question. How often, and I know some of this is repetitive, but please know we've had a lot of new people again that have joined us at René Paris, so please kind of bear with me. How often is a wig to be shampooed? Okay, there's not really a one size fits all for that. If you I know it doesn't really make sense. However, if I were to wear this every single day, and I'm going to be out in the wind, maybe I perspire a little bit more. I know I've shared that because of my being so young. I get a little bit hot, you know, so I may be sweating a little bit more than, and then if you're outside, not in a controlled environment, you may be perspiring a little bit more, especially right now because it's a little bit warmer. So keep in mind that if you look at the style, let me just grab this one down here. If you were to grab it and, you know, this still looks really good. Okay, let me show you this girl, because this girl looks like she needs a little bit of help. Okay, this one, you know, she's matted. If you get really close, you could tell she has like product. She just looks like when you have your hair, your bio hair in an updo, and it looks like it needs to be shampooed. This is when I shampoo it. And I know it sounds kind of icky, but you can kind of just take it, and if it has a bad scent, a bad odor, then you need to shampoo it. Some people may shampoo them once a week. We don't suggest that you shampoo them once a week. However, if you work out in it, if you run in it, if you're out in the sun, you're doing yard work, all these different little factors, you kind of have to keep that in mind. But you definitely don't want to over shampoo them. Hi everyone, if you're just joining us, today we are going over how to detangle a style. I'm just answering a few questions, please, before we get started. Please Sorry about that. If you heard that, we're live and I totally forgot to lock the door. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, going back to shampooing, I'm just gonna show you whenever a style looks a little bit unkept. I don't know if you've seen one of these. This is our René Paris comb. There you go. Our René Paris comb, wide tooth comb. These are really nice. Say for instance, you're kind of not sure if it needs to be shampooed, but it kind of, you're just thinking it's just kind of unkept. You can always comb through the style, and I'll show you in just a minute. You can kind of just comb through. How do you keep synthetic wig on? Okay, so good question. I'm actually talking about that. How do you keep the synthetic wig from getting tangled or frizzy under the back of the hairstyle? Okay, actually there's not really a way to prevent it from getting frizzy and tangly on the bottom. Synthetic hair is designed to be worn, I mean, technically speaking, looking really good 3 months. They're designed to be worn 3 to 5 months looking good, but it really just depends. I mean, I have an Angelica that I was really aggressive with and I wore it a lot, and I mean, I'm really hard with them and I leave it up like this, which I shouldn't, and so it's lasted me a couple months. However, what I do, and I have that also on one of our grams back a few weeks ago, whenever I'm going to be out and about, let me switch this so I can show you what I do. If I'm going to be out and about and I'm not it's going to be whipping and so forth. Okay, so this is Callie, and she is very tangled. I hope you can see that. I mean, she's really tangled. And we're going to go through that in just a minute, but I do want to show you again what I do when I'm out and about. If I'm wearing my hair down, and if I know it's windy, like a couple weeks back I was showing you I had to put a cap on wherever I was at because it was just whipping. So I basically just take it and I pull it to the side, and I always try to carry one of these with me. This is just a basic wrap with elastic, and it's covered with fabric, and I do those because it helps keep, even if I was just walking to work, sometimes I have like a little walk to work. It might be, depending on where we're at, sometimes it's a few blocks, and I don't want the wind to be whipping my style around, so I just take it like this, and I one time just kind of wrap it like this. I'm not trying to create a style, I'm just trying to keep it to the side, away from my skin, away from my body heat, because all these little factors, body heat, rubbing on a seat belt, rubbing on a collar, rubbing on, like in the wintertime, scarves and so forth, all this friction causes frizz. So I usually kind of put it to the side like that, and then whenever I get to where I'm going, I kind of just drop it. That way it hasn't been whipping around. You can't totally avoid from anything getting frizzy and tangled. The most important thing is you don't want to use a brush. I never use a brush. I just use something like this. This was designed, I feel like this was designed beautifully, so it's small enough to keep in your pocket. You can just drop one of these in your handbag, your travel bag, whatever it is that you're using. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to detangle without being so aggressive. So what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this on a mannequin, but just so that you can clearly see how to do this, I'm going to do it on the mannequin. And I'm just going to, you can do this laying on the table, you can lay it on the table and do this. The one thing that you do not want to ever do is you don't want to just take the brush or comb and hold it out like this and be pulling on it. You have to be really, really careful, especially with this style. This is Callie, this is hand tied. Always remember that anything hand tied and anything with lace, you have to be delicate. You can't be really aggressive when you're styling those, especially when you're combing it out to shampoo it. be gentle, you know, just kind of hold hair in place. I'm going to place her on this head. And I'm going to just use a couple pins. I'm not going to do this perfectly. I just want to show you for the demonstration how you really do want to be really careful when you're doing this. And I always take sections. I'm going to just take a section like this and kind of move there. I'm going to try to get closer to you. Okay, so I'm just basically going to take a section with my wide tooth comb. And I'm going to just clip this over to the side here so it doesn't get in my way. And I'm holding this hair here, and I'm going to just start taking the tangles out. And if you'll notice, this just is not, I'm not pulling on the foundation. I'm grabbing the hair here, and I'm combing through, and as I do this, I'm moving down so that I'm not pulling on the hair itself. It may look like, and I'm just taking tiny strokes to kind of comb through every little section. Again, I'm not just doing this because that's too aggressive. I'm grabbing the hair here, I'm holding it, and I'm working through the knots. So that when I'm doing this, I'm not pulling, again, I'm not pulling on the foundation. This is just my personal way of doing it. And you can actually do this laying flat on a table as well. You do not have to have the head. You don't have to have the stand and everything. You know me, I'm always doing things on myself, but it's really hard for you to see this in the back if I'm wearing it. And I do the front on myself, and then when I'm doing the back, I always want to make sure that I lay it flat. So as you can see, okay, all the little knots and tangles are out. And it's going to take a minute for you to do this. And again, I just take sections. And then when I'm ready to put this back on for styling, let me grab a little. When I'm ready to put this back on for styling, then I take her off this mannequin. Okay. Hi everyone, for those of you that have just joined, we are just detangling today and trying to re-glam our style that had a really long weekend. Okay, so again, I'm not just dragging the comb. I'm not using a brush. I personally always use this wide tooth comb. Like I said, I love the design and size of this because it fits in my pocket and it also fits in my bag. And I'm going down and I'm holding so that I'm not stressing the hair out here. And when I'm doing this, I don't really use product yet until I want to like enhance the curls again. So again, I'm just gently, you know, like I remember I saw one of my friends just going after it with, I'm like, whoa, 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 be gentle on the hair. Again, we're holding here and we're just combing out, and then later I can go through from the top down. I just want to make sure to get as many tangles out here as possible. And of course, I'm always going to show you how to do this with just your wig products. I know that everyone has a regimen. You know, you may try different products and like it. That's completely up to you. I don't really suggest anything other than products that have been formulated for wigs. However, I get that question all the time. If you find something that works for you, use it. You know what you like as far as styling and finishing aids. So just keep that in mind. There's not like one product that works for everyone. whatever makes you feel comfortable. I just always suggest what we provide because they are designed, you know, to help with longevity, even though every wig has a lifespan, if you will. That's what synthetics designed to do. Okay, so here we've got a lot of tangles going. We've got like a lot of tangles here, so I'm gonna just take it and then I'll move back a little bit. I'm holding it so that I'm not pulling the hair from the foundation, and then I move down. Again, just keep in mind, these are, especially this piece, this is totally hand knotted hair, so you definitely don't want to be really aggressive with this, and you don't want to just be pulling through the hair because you'll snap the hair, the fiber. You don't want to do that either. So I'm just moving down, and as you kind of just do section by section, and again, if you just joined, you don't want to hold the wig up here and just do this. And if you have, I forgive you. Please just don't do it again. Have fun with it. Try to, you know, the one thing I think that I always for new wig people, you know, you don't be fearful of, you know, kind of using an implement with it. The only thing that damages, that'll totally damage it really instantly, is going to be heat, direct heat. So you never want to use heat. Okay, so this will be the last section here. Oops. And this takes a little bit of. Okay, so I'm going to put her on so you can see what it looks like from one side to the other. So you can see the difference in the way the hair's drawn up with the knots on one side and it's really relaxed on the other. Okay, so today I decided to do this for the sake of showing without shampooing it. But this is a lot smoother, not completely smooth because I don't want it completely smooth. I'm going to go back and just use Revive and kind of enhance the curl. But if you can see on this side, she's matted and together and knotty. There's just knots everywhere. So let me put her back on. So look at the difference here and here. So this is, you can tell this is still really knotted and gathered and it looks crunchy. And then this is what it looks like after using my wide tooth comb. And then now I'm going to just again holding it in spots so that I'm not like pulling from the foundation. This is such a, it's a delicate piece. It's beautiful. It's really, really lightweight, but you don't want to be really aggressive with the, and as you can tell, you know, I'm not having trouble getting the comb through there now. So now what I'm going to do is I start off with a little bit of water. This is a beautiful color. I'm going to take a little bit of just water. And I'm going to do some underneath here. Hi everyone, welcome to René Paris. I'm Daniella, Texas Wig Fairy, if you want to follow me on my personal Instagram. Okay, so now I'm going to take just again section by section. And I'm going to do a little bit of Revive. This is for a little bit of sheen, a little bit of softness. However, you do not want to overuse the Revive. I'm going to just work it through with my fingers. not ever getting close to the knots up here. I want to stay, you know, I always kind of start down here just because you don't want to soften the knots at all with product. I think I missed a little spot right here. So let's just say I'm on a trip and I don't really have time to, or maybe I don't have a place to where I can fully shampoo it until I get back home. This would be a wonderful way to just kind of recomb and re-glam, just kind of make it look really nice again. Nice soft curl until you have time to shampoo her. But you can see that it looks softer, the curl looks nicer. I just want a soft curl. I don't want anything really, whoops, sorry. Let me get this hair out of my, I've got one right here somewhere. So, any questions? But going back to the question, how do you keep it, you know, another thing is like if you, longer styles are definitely going to frizz quicker because they rub on more, they're longer, they're a little bit more maintenance. However, again, the most important thing is whenever you take it off at night, if you remember to, if you have time, always just kind of take time and kind of do this. I do this on, kind of just take the style and kind of work through places where, see how much nicer this looks? So much nicer, and it's not all knotted up like this side. This side, you know, when you move, it moves with you. This has a little bit more movement now, and I just use water and revive. Any questions? Isn't this a pretty color? Okay, and then just remember, if you're going to be out and about and it's going to be windy, kind of just gather it with a little scrunchie. If you're going to be out, you know, for a while. I know we may not want to do that, but if it's really, really windy, I always do that just so that I can kind of save the life, if you will, of my style. Again, the most important thing is do not apply any kind of heat. And then you can add more product. You can add product to your comfort level. However, you just don't want to you don't want it to be too soft. Yes, the same for curly wigs. Let me see if I have, how curly I have. Let me think. Oh, you know what? Let me show you. If you'll just give me a minute, let me grab a curlier wig and I'll show you. Okay, so good question. So this is Julie from our Alexander collection, and let me show you with curly. Okay, so I'm going to just take a small section here. And the reason I clip it back is because it makes it a little bit easier for me to work with the style. Okay. So just to eliminate frizz like this, I'm going to just take it and I'm going to separate it, and I always do this with my fingers. I never use an implement. I know some people do, but I don't. I'm just going to separate this, and I use my fingers to kind of just comb through here. I'm going to take a little bit of water. And I'm kind of just working it through with my fingers. I'm going to take a little bit of Revive, and I'm going to put this in my palm. And what I'm going to do, and this takes a while, however, this forms the most beautiful curls. I'm going to just take it, and I'm going to twist it like this. And I'm kind of just pulling on that. and it'll soften up if you wanted to. However, it just really takes the frizz out of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you again. I'm just taking it like this. I'm combing all the hair smooth, combing it with my hands. I'm not using any kind of implement. Never use a brush. I don't use a brush. I know some people do. However, this is my way of doing it. And then I kind of just separate the curl like that. Isn't that nice? It'll take a while to do the full piece, but I mean, you know, if it gets really whipped like that, then you definitely just take the time to do it. And then if you want to separate the curls, just be really careful when you're separating them. But it kind of just puts a nice curl back into it. Again, this is just water and a little bit of Revive. So thank you for that question. That's a great question. Curly hair is a little high. It's a little what I call high maintenance. It's beautiful, but the one thing that I always hear people talking about, and someone has tried to explain to them how to take care of the style, and the one thing that you don't, I've got my eyelash stuck here. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to use a brush, please, on curly hair. Unless you have had experience doing it, the safest way is just kind of separating with your fingers, combing through with your fingers. It's always better to be safe. Okay, any other questions? For those of you that have just joined, today we were talking about how to gently kind of comb out the frizzies and the tangles whenever you've had, whenever you have been in the wind. Like it was a long weekend. All my wigs looked kind of like this. And if you just kind of comb through them, you just have a nice smooth look again. Much nicer, much smoother. Now, the one thing that I want to finish with is if your style is at the point where it's a little worn, a little older, and you keep doing that and it just isn't bouncing back for you, please keep in mind that it may be that you've worn the style enough to where possibly it may need to be replaced. So I know a lot of times as educators or in our boutique studios, we may not remember to explain that, but it's very, very important to make sure that everyone understands that synthetic is not designed to last forever. It does have a lifespan. Okay, how would you dry a curly? Okay, so how do I dry a curly or wavy style? When you're shampooing it, it kind of just depends on the style. I usually dry mine right side up, meaning that I am going to, let me show you what that means. Right side up means, and I don't dry them inside out. That's my preference. It's, again, everyone teaches differently. This is right side out, and I dry them on a stand like this. You don't want it to be on a counter. You don't want it to be bent on it. Like if you have it on a counter, you definitely want to have enough length between the counter so that it's in its state the way it should dry. In other words, you don't want it bent or curled under or anything like that. Some people dry their wigs upside down like this. You know, they flip it and it dries like that. Yes, that does give a little bit more volume. However, some styles may not look their very best, or they may have too much volume when they dry. So I've seen that happen with shorter styles, and depending on what you want, it may dry and it may be too sponghao, like too big, too sponghao. How do you, if you dry it upside down and it's just too much volume, you may not want that volume. So I always just say, let me show you on really quickly on breezy waves. When you shampoo that and you've already rinsed it, you don't want to twist your ring. You just want to kind of squeeze the water out. When you're holding the style before it dries, you want to make sure that you kind of give it a little bit of form, meaning you're just going to kind of style it, especially up here where it's a little bit smoother. I mean, keep in mind this would be wet. Now in the bang area, if you want just a free messy bang, you don't really have to put any kind of styling into it. When I dry mine, I kind of just smooth it out so that it has a really nice look. And then I completely let it air dry. Once it's completely air dry, I put it on. And if I were to not take a little bit of care when it's wet, it's gonna dry with, it may not dry in the direction that I like it, which is always going this direction. And then when it's completely air dry, again, just water. I'm always gonna just start off with water. And you can just kind of scrunch it. And you can see just really quickly how the curls kind of take shape. This is a really beautiful style, easy style to take care of. But if you missed it earlier, I did Julie from the Alexander Collection, and I showed you in tiny sections how it's really easy to take care of that style. Beautiful style. If you don't have a curly, you know, a style with curl in it, that is one of my absolute favorites, and you saw me flip it last week, so why not have that in your collection? Okay, so if you can see, I'm just using water and it's staying that way. Now if you wanted a little bit more hold and you want a little bit more enhanced curl, you could use the René Paris holding spray. But that's how I dry my wavy styles and my curly styles, and how I take the frizz out of them. Okay, I want to make sure that I've answered all the questions. Okay, any more questions? Okay, I like this one, but I think I'm going to go back to, and I'll sign off here because I just love this hair. Look how, and I just redid that curl in the front. It was really frizzy and not looking good, and look how nice it just stays. And that's just kind of taking it, pulling it, and working with it. Okay, so I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope I taught you something. Always remember to live big in your ROP wig. Have a good week.